First, obviously, is Chapter 78. We are in the midst of a process that started about 4 years ago to update the Commonwealth's regulations on both conventional and unconventional natural gas development. That was called for by Act 213, Act 13 of 2013. We are in the home stretch of that effort. We have conducted 12 public hearings, talk about transparency. 12 public hearings and accepted over 30,000 public comments in the process of developing this regulation. We took the extra step of going to an advance notice of final rulemaking. So the process has been one of integrity and one of complete transparency. And we are responding to the comments that we received from the industry, from the public, in designing a set of reasonable, balanced, and incremental improvements to the way that the Commonwealth regulates natural gas development. And we are on track to deliver that final regulation to the Environmental Quality Board in January of 2016. Staying on track, it will be finally considered by the Independent Regulatory Review Commission in April of next year. So it is something that has been a long time coming, but we are confident that it will provide substantial additional protections for public health and the environment and ensure that we meet the governor's call for responsible development of this immense natural resource for Pennsylvania. And really following along with that is something that I'm sure you're all familiar with, is the Governor's Pipeline Infrastructure Task Force. It's part of the whole cloth of ensuring responsible development of natural gas resources in Pennsylvania. As you may know, we are in the midst of an infrastructure boom in Pennsylvania. Over the next 10 years, we will probably see somewhere between 25 and 30,000 miles of gathering lines and at least 4,000 or 5,000 miles of interstate pipelines developed in Pennsylvania. This infrastructure and the compressor stations that accompany it will literally touch every single county in the Commonwealth over the next decade. And we have got to plan for the orderly development of that infrastructure and do it in a way that allows us to reap the economic benefits. There are literally tens of thousands of jobs at the ends of these pipelines that the governor is committed to making sure come to Pennsylvania. The more stuff we can make with natural gas in Pennsylvania, the more we can burn it in Pennsylvania, the stronger our economy will be. So the governor is committed to obtaining the economic development resources and benefits of this play, but do it in a way that minimizes environmental and community impact. So he called together in July of this year a Pipeline Infrastructure Task Force. We jokingly, maybe half jokingly, referred to it as the world's largest committee. 48 individuals on the task force and another 110 folks on 12 work groups whose task it is to identify recommendations for best management practices and other suggestions on how we can do pipeline development infrastructure, develop pipeline infrastructure in Pennsylvania in a responsible way to minimize community and environmental impact and provide a degree of certainty in the permitting process. We're trying to strike that balance and achieve that win-win. And that effort takes as its inspiration some work that actually I led in my previous stint in state government when I was with the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources. You may remember in 2004 when the state's Alternative Energy Portfolio Standard was enacted and the wind industry came into Pennsylvania. There were literally no rules for how to site wind turbines in Pennsylvania. And there was a lot of community angst. There was certainly concern on the part of environmental organizations, and the industry was very concerned about the lack of guidance on how they could go about in an orderly way developing their investments in Pennsylvania. So we gathered together all of the stakeholders, and over the course of a couple of years, working with all the regulatory agencies, with the environmental groups, and with the wind industry in a collaborative conversation, developed the first set of siting standards for wind power in the United States. And they were embraced by the Pennsylvania Game Commission in their voluntary cooperative agreement. And I still submit that they're the best in the country. So the collaborative model has already proven itself to work in Pennsylvania. And we put that model on steroids, frankly, and applied it to the natural gas industry and the issue of infrastructure development. We actually have received all sets of draft reports from the 12 work groups. They arrived in my office yesterday. And we are going to turn around a draft report to the members of the task force by Friday of this week. Very shortly we'll be opening up a public comment period, posting that document online. And we're looking forward to delivering to the governor by early February a final report with a set of recommendations for how to make sure that pipeline infrastructure development proceeds in a responsible way for the Commonwealth.